Let's get started provisioning our Azure Data Science environment. This section will be broken down into 4 parts. First, we will discuss virtual machines. We will discuss the components that make them up, from operating systems, storage options, configuration, and sizing. Then, we will move on to how to set up a development machine in Microsoft Azure. After that, we will look at the different virtual machine types offered in Azure, including the data science virtual machines. Once those topics are covered, we will quickly look at container options in Azure as they relate to your first data science project. Azure virtual machines are image service instances that provide on-demand and scalable computing resources with usage-based pricing. The virtual machines offered by Microsoft Azure can have different operating systems, storage options, configurations, and sizing. vCPU, or Virtual CPU, stands for a Virtual Central Processing Unit. A vCPU is a share of a physical CPU that is assigned to a virtual machine. An Azure VM can contain one or more vCPUs. In addition to various Windows Server versions, Azure supports all the major Linux distributions, including Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, CoreOS, Debian, Oracle Linux, SUSE Linux Enterprise, OpenSUSE, and Ubuntu. Let's discuss the different storage options available for Azure virtual machines. Azure Standard HDD, Managed Disk are for non-critical workloads that require infrequent access to your data and when you don't need production-level performance. Attach Standard HDD disk to any Azure VM to achieve cloud scale for your development and test scenarios at cost-efficient price points. Standard HDD managed disk can also be used for backup and archiving applications. For a cost-effective disk offering that can work with any Azure VM and that's designed to provide consistent latency for low IOPS workloads, deploy standard SSDs. Standard SSDs can support diverse workloads such as web servers, low IOPS application servers, lightly used enterprise applications, and dev test scenarios. Upgrade to premium SSDs for more demanding and latency-sensitive workloads. Premium SSDs represent a good fit for production workloads, such as SQL Server, Oracle databases, Microsoft Dynamics, Microsoft Exchange Server, MySQL, Cassandra, MongoDB, and SAP Business Suite. For your most demanding data-intensive workloads, UltraDisk delivers unprecedented and extremely scalable performance with sub-millisecond latency. Support your digital transformation with disk storage ideally suited for next-generation data-driven applications, such as SAP HANA, SQL Server, transaction-heavy workloads, complex analytical modeling, gaming, rendering, and low-queue depth databases. The Azure Marketplace is filled with virtual machines of all types from third-party vendors. Just a quick list would be Elasticsearch, Red Hat OpenShift, a Minecraft server, Cloudera, DataStax, Splunk, Couchbase, Starburst, Presto. If you don't want to use any of those, you can create and configure your own machine. Let's look at 6 items you control when creating a virtual machine. First, you will pick the what of your virtual machine. We will discuss the what of virtual machines a little later in this section due to sizing and series complexity. Then will be the where of your machine. You pick which region and resource group your virtual machine will be provisioned in. After that, you need to choose storage, where you will determine the storage type from the supported storage options we just discussed. Then you will choose your network settings. For our example, we will stick with a public IP address and not worry about anything else. After that, we will have to select management options. Management options involve monitoring, automatic shutdowns, backups, and more. Finally, Azure Automation State Configuration is an Azure service that allows you to write, manage, and compile PowerShell desired state configurations, import DSC resources, and assign configurations to target nodes, all in the cloud. Virtual machine sizing can be broken down to major categories. There are general-purpose machines, there are compute-optimized machines, memory-optimized machines, large or high-performance storage machines, and many, many more. In this section, we will start by creating an Azure Data Science virtual machine in the Azure portal. Then, we will explore the machine before we take a look at scaling the instance. Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is go to the Azure portal and create our data science virtual machine. So let's go to portal.azure.com to get started creating our machine. Once there, let's use the search bar at the top to search for Data Science Virtual Machine, and then we'll select the Windows 2016 Data Science Virtual Machine, and then we'll click Create on the next screen. We need to set up some basics, so first let's pick our resource group. So I'll make a resource group named Pluralsight. I'll name the virtual machine Build Your, just because I need a name, and we'll put this in the East US2 region. I need to give it a username and password, so I'll give it username Pluralsight, and I'm not going to tell you the password. Now let's take a look at disk. I'm going to keep the default options with the premium SSD. Then I need to set up my network management. I'll just keep the defaults because it's giving me a public IP address. Next, for monitoring, I want to show you the auto shutdown feature. So this will automatically shut down your machine, and it'll send you a notification prior at your specified email address. That way, if you want these to turn off at a certain hour, if you accidentally left them on, they will. We don't need to do anything in the Advanced tab. We don't need to do anything for tags. And we are actually ready to create our data science virtual machine. So on this screen, let's click Create. Through Movie Magic, this is going to go pretty fast. This actually took, in real time, about 6 minutes to deploy. So if it takes that long for you, don't worry. Now that our machine is created, let's click Connect, and we'll download our remote desktop profile file, and we'll connect to our machine. Here we'll type in Pluralsight and that password I didn't tell you, and we'll connect to our virtual machine. Once connected, you will see the plethora of different options available to us that we discussed earlier on the data science virtual machine. This isn't a course to cover all of these different options in depth. I just wanted to show you all of them available in the data science virtual machine. So you can see down here at the bottom, we have Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, Power BI, RStudio, PyCharm, the NVIDIA, Insights, analytics tools, PowerShell. There's tons of stuff available to us on this data science virtual machine. In the next section, we will discuss version management as it relates to data science in Azure.